This is the brand new GoPro Mission 1 Pro, and I think it is one of the most important camera releases in years. We're going to find out if GoPro is actually back on top, how it actually compares to the DJI Action 6, which I think is currently the best action camera, and whether you should spend your money on it. But first, why is this actually such a big deal? You see, GoPro essentially invented the action camera. For a long time, GoPro was untouchable, but it all began to unravel. The easiest way to prove this is have a look at the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. I know, a bit strange, but watch a video from 6 years ago and compare it to the one 6 months ago, and soon you'll see the image quality is practically the same. It just goes to show the sensor improvements on a GoPro were very marginal year after year. Meanwhile, that opened the door for DJI and Insta360, and all of a sudden their action cameras are widely accepted to be better than the GoPro 13. So in response to this, GoPro did something unheard of. In 2025, they went silent. There was no new GoPro 14, and they have come back now with a new name, bigger sensor, and here is the GoPro Mission series. Apparently it has double the processing power, but one thing for sure, it now has a 1-inch sensor bigger than all the competitors. So let's actually find out if GoPro are back once and for all. To test this, I'm going in the drink, under the ocean, to find one of the sea's most interesting creatures, the cuttlefish. Good morning, we are out here on a cold, wintry morning. All my settings are practically on default. I'm minus 0.5 exposure. And this is a little mic vlogging test. At the same time, this is the game plan. We're going to put this GoPro Mission 1 Pro to the absolute test in the drink. It's a cold morning. There's not a single soul out here. And I'm out here diving for you guys. Got the wetsuit on. The main goal here is to try and find a beautiful cuttlefish, which is like Davy Jones' locker. Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean. If you know, you know. Let's get a drink and hopefully see some cool wildlife. Firstly, let me warn you, the visibility was definitely not very good, 2 to 4 meters max. So take these videos with a grain of salt. So let's talk about the actual frame rates this thing can do. GoPro have been sharing this non-stop, but in a nutshell, we have 8K 60 and 4K 240 and 16:9, which is ridiculous. If you shoot true open gate, you can shoot 8K 30 on the Mission Pro, but you can't do that on the non-Pro version. You can even shoot 4K 120 in open gate, which is great. And there's also some ridiculous 960 frames per second burst mode and 1080p, which gives some astounding results too. I guess the most notable thing here is that GoPro aren't messing with this taller sensor business anymore. They kind of did the taller sensor thing first, and then the DJI Action did it probably better. But the point is, the fact that we have OpenGate and so many different resolutions and formats, even as a sweaty content creator who had to film a lot of OpenGate as I'm making an Instagram reel about this camera. This is why it's not sponsored, by the way. I'm doing work over Instagram and nothing on YouTube. I can say whatever I want. No one's watching this video beforehand. But long story short, 4x3 was definitely enough to create some high quality content on Instagram too. Although I'm going to be honest, having that square sensor would have been handy if I want to crop, especially since being underwater, filming cuttlefish isn't the easiest job to do. One thing I do want to mention though is that the whole 8K situation is very strange. We'll get to that later. Now let's talk about the physical design and actual changes to this camera. The sensor is obviously a lot bigger, so you're going to need some new ND filters. There's a humongous camera bump, which kind of shows how it does have a bigger 1-inch sensor. You've got the same nail-destroying side door, which isn't the best. And there's no internal storage, which is a bummer. If you know, you know, internal storage is great. You'll never forget your SD card again. And also honestly saves you money. I don't even put SD cards in cameras that have internal storage these days. The new mode button is more pronounced, which is nice, more tactile, and there is a slight menu redesign. I think it makes things more usable, and I do like how you can pin different functionalities onto the screen, so you can change your ISO or your shutter speed whenever you like, something that is kind of annoying to do on the Action 6. I think one of the best physical design elements of the GoPro series is that there is a 1/4 inch thread at the bottom built in, as well as those flaps that you can connect to different GoPro accessories. It's just one thing less that you won't forget for sure. No other action cameras on the market have this. There's also a promo. If you buy now, you can get a free cage. Honestly, the cage is pretty cool. It looks cool, it's high quality, it's metal. If I'm being honest, I probably won't use the cage that much, but you can detach the handle and now you have a normal metal cage that goes around the GoPro, protecting it, which is really handy. Now let's talk the million-dollar question, image quality. To really test this, I've strapped this thing to an FPV drone. Good morning, at this interesting sunrise, we're gonna rip the Mission 1 Pro now, but as you can tell, no one gave me an ND filter. And look at the lengths I go to make these type of reviews for y'all. It's literally an arts and craft job. So please subscribe. So as you can see, I had to do this jank ND filter setup. So I had to crank my ISO to 800 because my ND filter was too dark. It's almost like a low light test. And in doing so, there really isn't much noise at 800. On the old GoPros, I've been using GoPros for years, 1600 was almost a never use, and 800 was a bit yucky, but this time it is a lot more cleaner, which is great. Overall, the GoPro handles the highlights and shadows great. There's lots of dynamic range, but in general, highlights look great, shadows have detail, and it's the signature GoPro look that we have all known to love, and which is why FPV drone pilots flew GoPros religiously for a period of about like 3-4 years. Now let's hop behind the screen and do a nerdy little breakdown into the image quality, especially versus the Action 6. So if you look in these examples across the board, when both cameras were in automatic, I prefer the GoPro image practically every single time. It's some subtle things, how the highlights roll off, how they bleed into the trees. It's very well controlled on the GoPro. When it comes to the automatic EV or exposure, I feel like it's always smarter than the Action as well. Just have a look at some of these clips. The Action exposes me really brightly, which is just a bit odd, especially because at nighttime I shouldn't be lit up. Now, GoPros have always sucked in low lights, but not anymore. The Mission 1 actually shoots cleaner at night. Just have a look at this example. Both these images kind of look garbage, and you can kind of see how the GoPro is a bit softer, but with all that being said, I think overall the image is more pleasant and definitely less noisy. Now here's where things get a little bit interesting. Both cameras are on the lowest sharpness, lowest noise reduction, and the GoPro definitely has less noise, but it also has less detail than the Action 6. Honestly, I don't really hate the trade-off, because at times even on lowest sharpness, the Action 6 looks a touch over sharpened to me. What I think is happening is that the GoPro's processing is trading some fine detail for cleaner shadows. The image is softer, but honestly I think it looks a bit closer to a cinema camera, for example. This also goes both ways. A GoPro definitely has less detail than the Action 6 practically every time, so you're definitely getting a trade-off. If you look at this example, it's very bizarre because you can't make out a single word with the GoPro, but you can see a lot more on the Action 6. This could also just be a close focusing distance issue because it isn't fantastic. Have a look at this example. Taking this photo, looking down at my eye level, the camera is kinda in focus, not really, and then when I raise the camera to my head level, then everything is in focus. So if you're planning to shoot macro stuff on this GoPro, that's probably not the smartest use. Now this is probably the worst part about this GoPro is the whole 8K shenanigans. When comparing 8K footage and 4K footage, I honestly couldn't see any difference in detail. Like maybe marginally? You tell me. I double checked, the file sizes are bigger, the dimensions are correct, but there really doesn't seem to be much advantage actually shooting 8K. If I'm wrong for any example, I'll correct myself in the comments, so take a look out for that.
My only other issue with the Mission 1 is that there are no tools to help you expose to GP log 2. The Action 6, for example, has a color recovery mode and also displays the current exposure value to help you nail exposure. On the GoPro, you're on your own.
Let's quickly talk about photos. The 50 megapixel shots are solid. Like videos, shooting into the sun has a very nice amount of dynamic range, and the images are wide and pleasant. The 50 megapixel mode is still a jump over the 12 megapixel mode, but it's not as significant as you may expect. In terms of stabilization, I feel like all action cameras all share great, amazing stabilization these days. And in terms of battery life, after like an hour and a half of diving, I had about maybe 40% left. Keep in mind, I'm shooting on the best formats in open gate. Thankfully, speaking of diving, this GoPro is also waterproof up to 20 meters, no case now. It was very weird how you needed a case on top of a GoPro to be waterproof. Thankfully, that's fixed now. So who should actually buy this camera? First things first, based on my 8K findings, I don't think you need 8K. Just get the Mission 1, you don't really need the Pro, unless you really need that crazy slow motion video, which is honestly pretty insane given how small this camera is. Now I guess the other problem of the GoPro is that if you want the best action camera in the market, which I do think this is at this stage, you're going to have to pay for it. Where I'm based in Australia, it's $400 more than the DJI Action, which is a bit of a tough ask in my opinion. If I put a number on it, I think this is maybe 15% better than the Action 6. It's not huge, but like anything in life, if you want the best of the best, you're gonna have to pay for it. In the US, this difference is much less, maybe around $200, so there's a much greater argument for that. I'd say the Mission 1 Pro is definitely better, but the Action 6 is better value. Really, if you like the GoPro look, you have enough savings to get the best of the best, the GoPro is the one for you. If you want to stretch your dollar out further, get that vertical sensor where you can shoot horizontal and vertical at the same time. The DJI Action is still an amazing action camera as well. You really can't go wrong. So I guess with all that being said, I must say GoPro has reclaimed its crown, which also in turn is a very expensive crown that you have to pay for. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.